I'm actually going to look up the Minnesota information for you, but I'm getting ready to leave, so I'm just going to answer this really quickly. So your question was that your child has a 75 IQ, and on any scale, IQs between 85 and 115 are considered average. Anything below 85 is considered below average, and so the lower you get, the lower that IQ. And so conceptually, the that child would not be considered a child that has a reading disability, as in something like dyslexia. However, there are these catch all categories in the idea. And so someone was saying that your child, instead, because of the IQ, would qualify as intellectually disabled. Well, there's a little loophole there because intellectually disabled can be categorized by a lower IQ. However, in order to get that qualification under IDEA, they also need to have a pretty big deficit in their adaptive area. So you cannot qualify, and this is all states. You cannot qualify as intellectually disabled with a low IQ. You also have to have low adaptive scores. And adaptive is like, if I gave you a comb, would you know what to do with it? Are you potty trained? Do you need help brushing your teeth? Those types of things. And I mean, and that is a very simple, explanation of adaptive. That would be the adaptive composite, because we definitely have some kids that are potty trained, but then don't know what to do with the comb, or vice versa. So it is highly possible that you could have a child that is completely fine on the adaptive range, but then has the lower IQ. And then there are 13 categories of disabilities, and they would need to be only one of the 50 states that I work, I think it's Iowa. Federally, there's no requirement to put your kid in any one of these classifications, but every state does it because they count them. And so my guess is in Minnesota, there would be no other place to put this child other than in the specific learning disability disorder, which is a category, which is why I keep referring to it as dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia. Those categories or those disabilities fall under SLD, but SLD could mean exactly what you're saying. A child that has a 75 IQ is having issues with learning, but does not have any adaptive issues. So, yes, that child would have an intellectual disability, but they would not qualify for the ID label because they are fine adaptively. Now, if your child is not fine adaptively, then they're probably mislabeled. And the labels, they're just a way for the states to count how many kids are in autism, how many kids are under deafblind, how many kids are under whatever. So I wouldn't worry too much about it unless it's keeping your child from getting some specific service. So I hope that helps. But I'm going to look for what Minnesota says and see if I can get back to you on that too.